So you want to create your own oligarchy. Merriam-Webster defines an oligarchy as a government in which a small group exercises control, especially for corrupt and selfish purposes. By following this guide, you'll be one step closer to exploiting the muscles of bureaucracy to enrich yourselves, your family, and your friends. Step 1. You're going to want to be born rich as fuck. If you're not, then this is going to be a lot harder, and you may want to seek alternate ways of control. Assuming you're born rich, just use your family's money to start a billion-dollar business in a garage or your parents' basement. It could be anything: a social media site, a computer company, or even an online bookstore. Really anything that will net you a few $1 billion in a couple decades. If you're not born rich, well then you'll have to get crazy lucky and or work super hard for the most formative years of your life. Bonus points if you make the majority of your wealth through exploiting your workforce. It's actually going to be super difficult to do this, so I recommend just being born into wealth instead. Step 2. You're going to want to centralize the authority of whatever government you're trying to control. It doesn't even have to be your own country. For example, you could even be an African immigrant and do this. Ideally, you'll be able to influence key government, military, and media officials. However, the military may prove difficult if you are merely starting off as a private citizen. Doing things like buying a social media network and banning everyone that disagrees with you, or going old school and bribing elected representatives with vacations or just straight cash is a time-tested method to gain influence and power without being elected.
Luigi Mangione
was with me the entire night in question. We were collecting canned goods for the starving people in, one of them loser countries.
Well, they're clearly
He's clearly innocent.
Oh, good. My laundry is done.
With your social media network, you could control the narrative of politics within your country, and if you gather enough dirt on people, you could even blackmail them into furthering your own agenda. If you're really rich, you could even build an entire space program, launching thousands of satellites into space, creating your own internet network, and finally restricting and allowing access to who can use it on a whim, giving you massive leverage over political leaders of multiple nations whenever you see fit, regardless of the implications of doing so. Step 3. Every good puppet master from the shadows must establish a loyal base of cronies. Bribes and blackmail will get you in the door, but for long-term success, you want people who actually have aligned interests with yourself. Offer them wealth and status in exchange for their loyalty. Everybody's got a price, right? Make your businesses interconnect with theirs, establishing a system of mutual dependency. You could supply hardware to their military, or even provide critical infrastructure like cell service or power. If you were involved in the right businesses, you could even give them government or industry secrets that they can use to enrich themselves. Even still, elected officials have to keep their voters somewhat happy, or at least numb and divided enough to not notice that you're pulling the rug over them. Step 4.
Yes, she went to church. Oh, DD. Oh, what it is. Oh, DD.
People who doubt you have to be suppressed. You just can't let people go around killing your CEO friends in the street after all.
You got knocked the fuck out.
You have to set the narrative. Instead of your buddy being a scumbag who has caused the untold sufferings of thousands, he's a family guy, an all-around good American who was cut down in his prime. See? Doesn't that sound better? Then you can use your friends in the government to pass laws to keep your trillion-dollar company paying nearly nothing in taxes, while the people struggling to buy bread and keep the lights on pay an arm and a leg. Leading into my next point, keeping the people divided and struggling. A weak and tired populace is a submissive one. Instead of protesting and voting, people are stuck at work. Use your now accumulated power in government to pass laws that further suppress society at large. Curate the narrative through your media companies that, insert side here, are really the bad guys, and that they want to do X with your kids and destroy your way of life. There is no class war. It's simply a bunch of other wars about completely unrelated things. But the effect is the same. People are unable to coordinate any meaningful resistance against the big guy, aka you. At this point, if there is any resistance against you, you should be in a position to use the apparatus of the state to crush it. Using local, state, or federal forces against the population is a classic time-tested way of stopping any popular movement against you. If you're lucky, maybe even it's legal or at least acceptable for you to assassinate your opponents. Step 5. Now that you have real control over things, you need to add a garnish of legitimacy. Control the keys to the bureaucratic Mexican-built F-250 of freedom. Pack the courts with yes men loyal to you and only you. Make the directors of all kinds of agencies friends of friends, and make sure you get those IOUs on the way out for elevating these people to positions of power. They'll come in handy later. Codify policy that benefits you and people like you. Give your friends tax breaks under the guise of helping the lower classes. Use mass surveillance programs to find and eliminate any form of wrongthink. Reduce the education standards of your people to limit the critical thinking of the electorate, ensuring your power will remain unchecked for decades to come. If it would be too blatant of a power grab to stay in power forever, leave a legacy of leaders and policies loyal to you and your ideology behind instead, ensuring your policies will remain implemented and furthered long after you're gone. Your goal is to make it so that no matter what you do, no matter how many promises you don't fulfill, no matter how many people you shoot dead in the street, that no one will question you or your motives, and that maybe even more people will support you for it. Congratulations, now you should be at the head of your own oligarchy. At this point, the people's vote really shouldn't matter, at least for you. All the major industries in your country should answer to you. Military and political leaders should be of your party, or at least willing to step in line, and be fully on board with any agenda you deem fit to pass. At least half the population of your nation should really believe you have it in for their best interests, and if they don't, they shouldn't be able to do anything about it anyway. You have won the game. The power and resources of the state are synonymous with your own. Even if someone were bold enough to step out of line and try and convict you of something, you'd be practically immune to any consequences. And even though history shows that every government not by or for the people eventually collapses, you're pretty sure that this time you got it right. Thanks for watching, my dudes, experimenting with all different kinds of satirical-ish types of videos like this one. Like and subscribe, and I'd love to read your impassioned comments below. Till next time, war and peace.